and then share the screen. Okay, so everybody can see my screen now, right? You can answer in the chat box.
Miss Shireen, if you please.
Yes, yes.
I want to say something. I really want to attend the session, but in Al Azhar we didn't teach Connect Plus. I teach it by myself, but we teach Connect. Okay, but I hope I will continue the session if you don't mind.
No, of course you can attend the session. What goes with Connect goes with Connect Plus. We are tackling mainly a new strategy, okay? And you can apply it to whatever book that you want to teach. Okay?
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome, dear. So, if you please mute yourself, mute your mics, all of you, okay? I'm Shireen Mursi. I'm a teacher trainer, an English instructor. I'm a TEFL and TESOL certified teacher and a trainer, a TKT holder, and lately a RELO mentor. And who asks about RELO? RELO is the Regional English Language Office related to the American Embassy, the US Embassy in Egypt. They have their own office. They do some training for teachers all over the world, especially in Egypt. They do a lot of courses, they open many portals, and they support English teachers, especially in Egypt. And they made a kind of training for us and to Connect Plus. As I deal with Connect Plus, I am with the Connect Plus. Okay, so today I'm going to deliver to you what we had from this training. Actually, we are still going on with this training, but now we have we started the first part of it. So this is not a session on only one session or only one workshop. It will have several sessions as we will go with our training. Okay, clear everything for everybody? Okay, so the main purpose for this training is how to teach Connect Plus, because I can see that everybody can teach Connect Plus. You are excellent in it, you excel in it, mashallah. Okay, but the vision is that we are having a new vision in tackling Connect Plus. As you can see, and as you've dealt with through the whole year and the year before, that Connect Plus has many information. It has many topics. It is very rich with different information. Okay. So what we are going to have today is that we are going to think about how to make creative lesson plans, very creative lesson plans, not normal things, okay, and not a normal one. And at the same time, how to use these lesson plans to empower our Egyptian students and help them to communicate successfully with each other and with the world around them. So this is mainly what we are having in our mind. Our main target is to let our students not only engaged, but also empowered. Okay? So, session 1 objectives, we are going to tackle 3 main points today. What is meant by backward design plan? What is meant by unit objective and the assessment for the unit objective? And what is meant by lesson objective and the assessment? Okay? So I want to tell you, if any problem in the connection happened, we are going to re-enter again. As you know, Zoom can have a time limit for it. Okay. So what we are going to have, some important points we have to tackle together. Number one, I want you all to mute your microphones as you are kindly doing it, mashallah. And if you want to ask any question, you can raise your hand. You will find an emoji of raising your hand. Okay, it's right to your chat box on the button more. And if there are any questions, we will tackle many questions as much as we can at the end of the session. Okay? So I want you now to make an activity. I want you all to close your eyes and imagine that you are having a trip in a time machine. Okay? And I want you to answer in the chat box 2 questions. Where would you like to go if you are having a time machine and you have to go to travel through time either forward or backward? Where would you go? And if there is a person you could go back in time and meet, who would it be and why? I'm waiting for your answers in the chat box. Reem would go back and meet my parents. Time for Islam appear. You would go back in time where the beginning of Islam, right, Iman? Oh, wow. Yeah, we'd all love to meet Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Okay, more answers. We have 3 more seconds to go. Where would you like to go? Princess Diana. Miss Amal wants to go and meet Hussein. Wow. Okay, 1 more second to go. Okay. So, the traditional way of teaching our students is that one, right? This is the one that we all used to in our session. The very first step that we do is we identify a topic or the chunk or the content that we need to cover it. Then plan a sequence of the lesson or through the lessons in order to measure the learning that should have taken place in the lessons. Right? Do you all agree? One second, I guess I have a problem, a very small problem here. Okay, so these are the main points that we think about. These are the main important points we have in our head when we are having a chat on the coffee table, or when we are having a chat correcting our students' books and copybooks, right? That what is the topic that we are going to explain today, and that we have a sequence of planning for these lessons, and then we create an assessment and get the students to measure how they get it or they did not get it, right? But today we are going to tackle something different. It is called a backward design. Has anybody heard of the backward design? Please answer in your chat box. No. Nobody? Okay, the backward design is that from its definition, it is a backward approach, mainly the engagement of our students. It is more student-centered than teacher-centered. It is when we think of the big title, the main objective I want from this unit. Either it is one objective or two or three, okay? So it is the main objective for this unit. What is the thing I want my students to learn? What is the main important goal I want my students to get? So we think of the main objective, okay, the main objective of the unit or the main objective of the course. And what are the students expected to learn and be able to do? And then we go back to the lessons and go back to the units and divide them into planning and assessing the lessons that we have. So we think of, for example, the main unit. The main unit is whatever unit that we want. I want my students to learn what from this part. And then according to the lessons that we have in our class, we are going to think about the design that we want. So here we help the teachers, backward design helps the teacher to plan lessons and units that are focusing on the goal of the learning rather than the process of teaching. What is the goal that I want from this lesson? Okay, what is the goal that I want from this unit? And here are two important questions that I think that are now tickling in your mind. How can I implement assessment before the activities? Okay, as it is an assessment for the previous knowledge or what? This is the question. Does anybody have this question in his mind right now? Would you please answer in the chat box? Okay, Reem, okay, Amal. Anybody else? Amira, okay. Anybody else? So how can we implement an assessment before the activity? Okay, and another, how can we assess before? Excellent, Amira, good question. And another question is, how can we allow students in grade 1, this means they are 5 years old, maybe younger than that, and they will be unable to understand and grasp the idea of learning the objectives, getting the goal, achieving it by the end of the course, right? Now glowing in your mind. Am I right? Okay. So now we are going to move to a very short pop quiz. Okay, a very short pop quiz. Let's keep this in mind now. Let's keep these two questions glowing in our mind now. And let's go to this pop quiz. Number one quiz, I want you to answer in the chat box. Is it true or false? Number one, an assessment must be a written test. Please answer in your chat box. Amira, very good. Bravo. Reem. We have 2 seconds. Hurry up, hurry up. Amal, false. Very good. Excellent. Maha. Man Abdul Kareem, excellent. Okay, so you are all excellent teacher educators that I am dealing with right now. Yes, an assessment mustn't be written test. It can be anything. It can be oral, it can be written, it can be anything. So number one is false. Number two, a formative assessment can be written or oral and can happen at any time throughout a unit. True or false, you have 3 seconds to type in the chat box. Very good. Yes, Reem. Yes, Amal. Very good, Amira. Bravo, Maha. Okay, what about the others? What about Ms. Asma, Mr. Ahmed, Mr. Abdul Maqsood? I want to replies. Is it true or false that a formative assessment can be written or oral and can happen at any time throughout a unit? So yes, number two is true. And this is actually the definition of the formative assessment. It can be written, it can be oral, it can be speaking, and it is happening throughout the unit in the different lessons. Okay? Good job. And number three, I want you to answer in the chat box. Is it assessment measures learning at the end of a unit? True, true. So yes, a summative assessment measures the learning at the end of the unit. This is true. So you are all, give yourself a very big clap. You are all excellent and you are all answering the correct answers. Excellent teachers, excellent teachers. Okay. So what we have in here is that we have to set the unit objective. This is the backward design. Can you see this chart in front of you or this diagram in front of you? This is the backward design. First, we identify the results that we are requiring. And then we deal acceptable evidences, and then we plan the instruction that we have. Does anyone want to add anything or ask any question? Just raise your hand. Okay, good job. So we are going to elaborate it more on our book. This is Unit 3 in Grade 1, first term. Okay, and this project is called, this unit is about my community. Okay, it's about the school community generally. The main target that we have here is to make a joyful end of unit project. This is my main target, okay? To make a joyful end of unit project. So here, the main target for this, or the main objective for this unit is, it has many different topics. Can you type in the chat box any of the topics that you know about this unit? This unit is mainly talking about many things, okay? Like places at school, very good Amira, excellent. Like school objects, excellent Iman, very good. What else? These are mainly the two objectives. We have many things in this unit. It's a very rich unit. So here I will open my unit and I will find that I can have my students prepare for, what is this? Yes, very good, the grammar part, excellent. What I'm going to make my students prepare while we are going on through this unit, that we, by the end of this unit, that we are going to have a shopping trip in their class, in different classes, and they are going to play stationery shop game where they can sell and buy the stationery stuff that they are going to study. So be ready that we have to study these words, we need to learn how to write them, we need to learn how to define them, because we are going to prepare a shopping bazaar by the end of the unit. So this is a point. Another point is that, what do you think if we made our students make their own pencil cases as a craft by the end of this unit? Okay? Or we can tell them that by the end of this unit, you are going to play a tour guide game, that we are going to go through our school, okay, and we introduce where is the library, where is the music room, where is the principal's office, and so on. Then they can play in teams and practice team values, okay, and while they are in the park. Or the project that we have in our book, which is the cube and the dice, where you have the places on one cube and dictionary and the school items on the other cube, and they can play with them. Okay, this is another option. So these are the main targets that I want my students to reach. What do you think if I prepare my students that we are going to have a shopping trip, or a tour guide trip, or a game of play and say, which is the cube game? What do you think our students will feel? Please write in the chat box. What do you think? Yes, they will be excited. Yes, what else? They will be eager, that they want to reach the end of the unit, and they will exert an effort in order to study. Okay, you want me to repeat again, Amel? Excellent. I don't know, from 7, I don't know what's your name. They will never forget, and this is the main goal. Can you hear me now, all of you? Can you hear me clearly? Okay, you are Amal Ali. Okay. Can you all hear me clearly? Very good. Okay. So are saying they will never forget. They will have the urge that they want to learn by themselves. They will be the ones who are keen to learn and keen to get this information and learn it, right? So all of these steps that I said, do they happen in one day? Do all these things like the tour guide game, like the shopping game, do they all happen in one session? Sure, of course not. So I want to introduce these ideas, and if I can make a poster or show them a video that what they are going to reach by the end of this goal, it is very important to introduce it on day one to build their interest. Then I prepare my work to be a multi-day project completed in a group or with a partner. I have to prepare my work through the units, and by the end, this project, this final project, this joyful end of unit project should be on different days. It will not happen on one day, okay, and it will not happen by one student. They have to be pairs or they have to be groups. Also, I need to inform them that there will be audience. Either I will bring my parents, I will bring other teachers like science and math teachers, or I will bring other students, other colleagues from other classes. And the joyful end of unit project or the unit project mainly serves as a summative assessment or the end of unit assessment. Right? Do you all agree?
Yes, I do.
Okay, would you please mind mute yourself, everyone? Okay, great. So now let's move to the lesson objective, okay? Let's move to the lesson objective. Again, we are going to set the lesson objective and design the lesson assessment, which is the formative assessment. Would you please mute yourself, everyone? Okay. So we will move then to the objective of the lesson, which will serve as how can we design a formative assessment for the lesson. And I guess this is very available and we can have it in the teacher's guide. Okay? So this is our unit. This is unit 3. Here, the objective of lesson 1 is that we will identify the places or the classroom items, okay? Then we have lesson 2, which is talking about the rules, and here we combine between the grammar part with the vocab, is that the action verbs like listen, look, read, and at the same time, the affirmative, the how we can set rules, okay? This is lesson 2. Then we have lesson 3, where they can talk about things they can do at school. They can complete sentences using different new vocabulary. And we have lesson 6, which is having different activities at the park, having some actions like slide, climb the frame, roundabout, and swing. And at the same time, we can teach them how to use, how to deal in the values in the school and see. We are going to do, I'm doing a lot of talking since we started. So now we are going to move into breakout rooms for 10 minutes, okay? And what we are going to do, I want you to bring out uh, your and take screenshot of what we are going to have. Can you all see my screen? Okay. In your breaking now is the breakout rooms, right? Okay. Okay. In your breakout rooms, you will do 3 points. Step 1, you will choose a timekeeper. Step 2, you will your students at the end of a lesson, in any lesson that you do, in any formative assessment that you do, in any unit that you work with. Okay? And the third step is that you are going to choose an ambassador who is going to be the one to summarize what you all said. So as I told you, the lesson objectives are always in the teacher's guide, okay? And the ambassador is going to summarize the discussion about the lesson assessment that all the has discussed in the breakout room. Clear? So again, I want you to take a screenshot of these 3 things that are required from you so that you are going to have in your breakout rooms. Okay? So now let's be ready. To go to the breakout rooms. Are you ready? Did you all have the things clear, and did you all have your screenshots? Type in your chat box, please. Oh.
الو الو
Iman, would you please join the breakout room because you are not joining it? And Mr. Abdul Masood, would you please join the breakout room because you have participants waiting for you there. Amal, please join the breakout room. I will assign you to one to join with, okay, dear? Okay. With our slides, I will share my screen. Okay. So thank you, ambassadors. Thank you, everyone, for such a great activity. And this is, I guess, a very nice formative assessment. It is called exit ticket. Does anyone use exit ticket while working with his students? Especially the teachers who are suffering from the last session or the last lesson at the end of the day. Does anybody work with it? No. Okay, let's watch this video together and then we will discuss what is meant by exit ticket.
Up there, it says exit ticket. The most important thing I learned about subtracting decimals was, don't tell me, write it, okay? You start it. I started it for you, and you're going to complete it. An exit ticket is just a piece of paper that the students will fill out and give to me on the way out. Usually it is answering a question that I have posed that day, or just completing a sentence. And I use the exit ticket to see if there's any misconceptions that they have about the concept that I'm teaching that day. And it'll help me to see, oh, you didn't put this, or those students that do remember what we had talked about. And it's usually I use the exit ticket after I have explained the concept a couple of days, and they should have a little time to practice the concept, and then it'll help me to clarify any misconceptions they may have. They like the exit tickets, they like giving them to me on the way out as like just something else, like here, instead of me handing papers to them, they're handing papers to me. I think they like that. I think it helps them verbalize their learning. If you can explain what you know, then I feel you have mastered the concept. Being a fourth grade teacher, it's very important that they are able to write. And so they have to write, they have to explain it in words, not just say it verbally, but they have to write it out. And I think sometimes it's a hard transition for young kids to do. I think it works best if it's a concept that we have been doing for a few days. It's more open-ended questions that pertain to the student. There's no real right answer, no real wrong answer. It's more like, just tell me what you're thinking, what is going through your mind, how do you process this? And that way it'll help me to understand what the student knows and what he needs clarification with. Thank you.
The teacher uses an exit ticket so she can see if you're studying, learning, and focusing on their work. The teacher uses an exit ticket to see if you are paying attention or not. I think she uses the exit ticket so she knows if we're listening to her instructions.
خليها تنزل عادي. ايه خليها تنزل ايوه النت قطع اصلا وانا بتكلم ما كملتش والله كنت بتكلم قطع.
Okay, so who does use an exit ticket in his own class? The sound is not clear at all. Can you hear me now? All of you, can you hear me? All of you? Okay, great. So does anyone use exit ticket in his class? The sound of the video was not clear. Okay, I will summarize it for you. It is a kind of a mini assessment by the end of the day, either by the end of the lesson or by the end of the day if you are having the last session. Okay, and you use it you choose anything that you were working on mainly in the lesson, and you ask your students any simple question about this topic. For example, if you were introducing vocabulary, then you can ask them to write any word that they like the most. And if they are a little bit younger in age, they can draw it. Okay. You can ask them to draw. You can ask them to either to speak. If we were talking about a conversation lesson, how old are you, or what's this and what's that, you can prepare such a kind of questions that you can do while they are leaving or by the end of the lesson as a kind of a wrap up. And they have to answer it so that they can leave the class and go home, or so that they can be prepared to the coming lesson. So it is a mini assessment, okay, but you have to be doing it every time during your lesson. Every time during your lesson, you have to do it because it is a routine builder. The students will be expecting that they are, while they are working in their lesson, they will be expecting that they will have an exit ticket at the end of the lesson. So they will be focusing and they will be very attentive in order to get the exit ticket by the end of the lesson. So it has to be routinely done. It doesn't have to be only once or twice or as it comes. No, it has to be routinely done so that students will be prepared and will be focusing in the class and ready, that they will have an exit ticket. So they have to be attentive. They will have to be to have the urge to know everything in the class in order to get their exit ticket. And if you want to push it higher and push the bar higher, you can use some critical thinking questions like why questions, how questions, if we are having a reader lesson or if we are having a reading lesson. Okay, you can ask some questions about the events, you can ask some questions about why did this happen, and you expect from your students to answer in an oral way, of course. The very famous way that we can have critical thinking is that we can make critical thinking by using this. We all have a vocabulary and phonics lesson by the end of the unit or through the unit. So we can introduce some words and we can ask them to write one of the words with the sound O or with the sound O, OE or OA or OW, and they can write it. And the one who gives you the correct word, either correct or not correct, you are going to collect them. They will have to write their names on it, as you saw in the previous slide. This is the exit ticket. You can make it by yourself. You can photocopy it and make it and distribute it with your children. Okay, they will write their names and they will write their answer to whatever question that you have. Okay, or you can ask them to bring their sticky notes and they can give it to you by the end of the lesson. So there are many different options for the exit ticket. In this way, the students will be attentive through the whole lesson because they are ready to have their exit ticket, so they are paying attention. Okay. The second thing is that you, as a teacher, will evaluate how much did they grasp and how much did they understand and how much did they get from the lesson, so that when you go back to the second lesson, you will use this handouts, or you will use this. You will start with the things that were not very clear and were answered wrong by some of the students or most of the students. It will give you a kind of alarm where to start your recapping in the next lesson. So an exit ticket is a very nice way, to a very simple way in doing some kind of formative assessment for your students. Okay? So, because we are wrapping up, this is session number 1. As I told you, we are having a kind of a course, and this is the first session. We wanted to know each other in the session, and we got to know two important things, which were the backward design and what is meant by joyful end unit assessment. Okay, and of course the exit ticket for lesson 1. So now you have an important work to do. Okay, Mr. Abdul Masood, no problem. So now we have a very important work to do. I guess most of you received the Google Classroom invitation, right? You are free to unmute yourself and reply.
No.
Who did not? Reem, you did not receive it?
No. I am. Amal, no.
Amal, you did not receive the Google Classroom, okay? Who
Okay.
else? Yes, Mr. Abdul Masood, you have a question? You can unmute yourself.
Yes.
Yes, what was your question?
The voice is not clear.
My voice now is not clear?
Yes.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. With
Who else? Did you receive your invitation to the classroom?
Yes.
Okay. Who else did not receive it? Okay, if you did not receive the Google Classroom invitation, here is the Google Classroom link, okay, and I will send it to you in the chat box. And this is the class code. When you join this Google Classroom, you will have an article, you will have the homework of an article, you will read the article about the backward design, and then you will have a survey about this backward design. You will have to reply it and answer the survey. Then followed by, you will find a sheet of which unit that we are going to work on for the coming sessions. If you are going to join us for the coming sessions, we will have to stick to one unit so that we can elaborate coming activities and becoming skills and techniques that we are going to have, and we are going to share it together. So every one of you will have to pick a unit. You will find an Excel sheet in the Google Classroom, fill it with your contacts, okay? And choose a topic, choose a unit from Connect Plus 1, 2, not 3 of course, because 3 they are still working on, okay? Choose any one, and you write the title of it. And then you will find also in the Google Classroom, this template. Can you see it all on the screen? Okay, this template. Can you see the highlighted part? This is your homework for today. You are going to choose a unit, and then you will add the unit in the green part, which is the subject matter, the unit, and the lesson that you are going to work on. You will start with number 1, the unit objective, okay, that we were tackling at the beginning of the session, what is meant by the unit objective and what you are going to prepare your students to, okay, you are going to write it here, and then you will go with the assessment, the lesson objectives. Number 2, you are going to tackle the lesson objective from the lesson that you are using, and your exit ticket for this lesson. Okay, whatever lesson that you are going to choose. So am I clear, or you need to ask any question about this? Okay, so this is the homework for today. We are going to add the unit objective, add the unit, the subject matter, the lesson objectives that we are going to use, and the exit ticket that we are going to prepare for this unit. And inshallah, next session, we are going to share this and move on to the second step, which is the into action activities that we will have in the unit. Okay? So here is the Google Classroom link. And here is the code for it to join. Okay? Do you have any questions?
Yes, Shrihan, please. I just attended. So can you summarize what we are going to do?
Yes, what we are going to do is that we are going to use Connect plus books, either 1 or 2. You are going to choose a unit, okay? And you are going to write the objectives of this unit, a general objective for the whole unit, okay? And then you are going to pick a lesson, any lesson that you like, and you will set down and jot down your own objectives from your own point of view, and how you are going to assess these objectives and do their own exit ticket. Okay? I want to tell you something, everybody, also that the recording of this session will be in the Google Classroom.
So only the yellow. Only the yellow boxes that we are going to fill. You
are going to fill the green, red, and yellow boxes. Yes, the one I already highlighted.
And the white, no.
No. These are the things that we are going to tackle later, inshallah. Okay, we are starting with first the planning of the whole unit at the very beginning. This is step number 1. Okay? Any more questions, anyone?
Where can I find the link for the Google Classroom?
Okay, I will show it to you and I will send it to you in the chat box. If we click on it like that, I will show you. Here is the Google Classroom. You will find all the materials inside. You will find the materials of Connect Plus inside. You will find a book called Monsters Book we are going to use in the coming session to work for our activities, okay? And we will have the backward design survey where you are going to read, can you see here? You are going to read the article, and then you are going to answer this survey. Okay? So this is the link for the Google Classroom. I'm going to
and this should be done by
put it in the chat box.
Today, or when is the next
this should be done, inshallah, to the coming Saturday, inshallah, after Eid, bi'idhnillah. Okay? So do you have any questions?
We are going to meet every Saturday?
Inshallah.
Inshallah. Except for next week.
Except for the coming Saturday, it will be off طبعا. كل سنة وحضراتكم طيبين. Any question?
وحضرتك طيب ممكن لو سمحتي حضرتك تديني فكرة أكتر عن ريلو وإزاي أتقدم ليها أو إيه خطواتها، لأن عندي صعوبة شوية في التواصل فيها.
أوكي. ريلو هو بيبقى حضرتك ممكن تكتبي على أونلاين على الجوجل ريلو، فهيطلع لحضرتك البيج بتاعت الويب سايت. أوكي. There are different applications they make some kind of activities, and you will find some courses, many orientation lessons there. And then every year, by the end of December, they have a kind of application where you can fill it in, and accordingly you will have an interview. Okay. If you were accepted, you will enter Relo program.
Okay.
Whatever hub that they, maybe in Cairo, maybe in Luxor, maybe in Minya, and whatever. Okay.
Okay.
And you're going to start training with them to be a Relo mentor.
Okay.
This is the regional English
Regional
language
English.
office related to the USM.
Usually there is the application that is you have to fill it before you have to fill
For
it
December,
in November,
I guess.
November or the middle by the middle of December.
By the end of December, before December finished, you have to be filling it.
Yes, you have
to be filled. You're welcome.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
So, any more questions, everyone?
Thanks a lot, Ms. Rehan.
Thank you, Ms. Reem. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
And hope to see you next after Eid, inshallah. كل سنة
بإذن
وحضراتكم
الله
طيبين.
وحضرتك طيبة يا رب بإذن الله.
Okay, thank you, everyone. See you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.